In February, a cleanup agreement years in the making came between the Environmental Protection Agency, General Electric, and cities and towns along the PCB-polluted Housatonic River. And the public can comment on that proposal from now through August 28th. The controversial proposal includes the storage of some PCB-contaminated sediment at a site in the Berkshires. GE and the EPA say the proposed cleanup will be faster and better. But the Housatonic River Initiative's executive director, Tim Gray, is among those who disagree. And Connecting Point's Carrie Saldo spoke with him for his perspective.
As you probably know, one of the biggest things that we're concerned about is, like they promised us about 3 years ago on the front page of our paper, that we would have no dumps in Berkshire County. They went ahead and orchestrated us having a dump in Berkshire County. It's near a lot of homes. It's at the entrance to our state forest. As you go into our state forest campground now, you're going to see a big sign that there's a toxic dump across the street, which is really a shame that we would put that in that location. The dump is 1,000 feet above an elevation directly uphill from the river that we're going to be cleaning up, and it's being built on gravel. It's a total gravel pit. The entire side of the mountain is a gravel pit. So we think this is not only a terrible place for the dump, but it's affecting neighbors. Property values are already being questioned. People that are asking for mortgages are getting letters saying that they're being reviewed because of new developments in the town. And the realtors are telling us they're losing sales in our part of town. So very fast, this dump is having some economic activity.
I think what GE and EPA, General Electric and EPA have said for its part regarding the toxic waste dump that's being proposed is it's below PCBs in the site would be their lower level hazardous waste, below 50 parts per million, if I have that correct. And also it would be capped and treated in a way that would contain the toxins. You disagree with that?
Well, yeah, and we work with one of the leading PCB researchers in the world, Dr. David Carpenter, and he warns us about the fact that dumps have been known to leak PCBs into the air. You don't put a dump like this near residential homes because you affect values. And again, they promised us they would never do this, and here they are doing this.
And I should say on balance that GE and the EPA would call it a disposal site. You use the phrase dump. You said at the outset that there are other parts of the settlement that you also disagree with. What are those?
Well, yeah, I just want to say something about what's going on too here is right now they're only calling for the removal of somewhere between 30 or 40%, and that's only a guesstimate to begin with because the EPA really doesn't know how many PCBs are in the rest of the river. We're moving ahead at a fast pace, and as you might know in the Hudson, they did the same thing. They went ahead with the cleanup, and in the end, the cleanup has failed. And there's lawsuits from Governor Cuomo and environmental groups all up and down the river charging that the EPA muffed the cleanup. And we feel that the amount that the EPA is shooting to take care of right now is going to put us in the same situation. So it's kind of like, why are we cleaning it up if we're only our target is 30 or 40%? That is incredibly absurd. And I also want to say that the EPA hasn't done a full range of sampling since 1998. And when you're doing a cleanup, you should have you should have more recent data to base your assumptions on instead of it being 25 years old. So we're worried about that. I want to state that we are in support of a removal action. That's very important for us to put that out there because other places have been saying that we don't support a removal action, but we do. We're very much, in fact, we're the guys that brought the PCB cleanup to the river because we were the only one active for many, many, many years.
And when you say removal action, does that refer to the part of the settlement that would take some of the more high-level toxins, PCB toxins, currently in the river and ship them out of state to facilities to be housed there? Is that what you're referring to?
No. What I'm referring to is just the general river itself and the fact that they're taking out too little PCBs, and they're going to be leaving it contaminated forever, as I said before. And so now we have a cleanup that's inadequate. We have them trying to force a toxic dump on our neighborhoods. And this thing about that EPA likes to say it's only a low-level dump. Well, at the first meeting, they said it was only going to be 20 parts per million average. Then at the second meeting, they raised it up to, I think, 25. And then all of a sudden, they wouldn't admit at a meeting. I had to ask the EPA guy probably 15, 20 times during that meeting, what their intentions were. And they finally admitted that there could be up to 50 parts per million. Now, if you ask a public health expert in PCBs, they'll tell you there is no safe level of PCBs.
I want to talk to you. You mentioned Dr. David Carpenter earlier in our conversation, and you and I have talked for years about HRI's position about using alternative technologies to remove these chemicals, these toxic chemicals from the river. Can you talk about HRI's pursuit of that technology and why you're interested in it, why you think it would be effective?
Well, the reason why is, we've been studying them for many years. We've had three to four alternative technology conferences attended by hundreds and hundreds of people on the Housatonic River. And we are very bullish on alternative technology because if one of them was actually successful, we wouldn't have to have a dump. We would be treating it. We'd be taking care of the issue by us, which really is our problem because it's our river. And we feel that we should be working to do the best job we can do about would be to including some alternative technology. The EPA, under pressure from us, they put in a thing called adaptive management into the cleanup. And we're happy for that clause in there, which basically says that, as they go along in the cleanup, they'll be looking at more technologies and things like this. But the EPA has been a miserable failure on trying to use any technologies. During the first consent decree, the EPA administrator came to Pittsfield and she mentioned in her press conference that they would support doing alternative technology pilot tests, and they've never kept that promise. Never kept the promise. That was in a promise to us that we would remove our legal action that was going on back in 2000. And it's just an outrage.
And when I spoke to Janewynn about the use of alternative technologies, Janewynn from Berkshire Environmental Action Team, who you're well aware of, you for many years were on the same side of the issue in terms of your position on the current settlement. BEAT now supports it. HR clearly still does not. She raised concerns about the use of alternative technologies, saying with thermal desorption that she's concerned that there might be leave behind more toxins than even PCBs. And then with bioremediation, she thinks there's still possibly hope there, which is why she would prefer that the PCBs be capped so that when bioremediation, when the science is there, that she feels would be supportive of a better cleanup, then you might be able to pivot and use bioremediation at that point. What do you think about the fact that she thinks that, go ahead.
Well, I think Beat and Jane, her group, are living in fantasy land if she thinks they're going to cap the PCBs and then someday come back and uncap them. GE will have none of that, I believe. GE wants closure from this site. And we don't agree with Jane on that. And we also like to say this cleanup is our one chance in history to do it right. And Jane is in support of 30 or 40% of PCBs being taken out. That's absurd. She's okay with the toxic dump next to neighbors, but guess what? If it was next to her house.
I should say on balance, Beat and Janewynn are not the only organizations now supporting this. Top boards in 5 of the river communities also signed on, as did federal officials.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. Our selectmen, one selectman of our town and of the town of Lenox, that's Lee and Lenox, voted this toxic dump. They signed onto a contract with this toxic dump. They never had a town meeting on this. There was never any discussion in any of the 5 towns. They kept it secret. They negotiated this behind everybody's backs, and then they announced it in a meeting when nobody knew about this. And they have lost our trust. That's why we just voted out the last selectman. One of the selectmen's, Tom Wickham in Lee, got voted out badly because he voted for this dump. And next year, we're going to vote out the next one. And they're all going to feel the impact of what they're doing to our neighborhoods, because we are angry that they are forcing us now to live in an area that's going to be toxic forever. And do you think a toxic label is good for the town of Lee and Lenox?
As it stands right now, the public comment period is open. This isn't a done deal in terms of where we are in the time frame. People can comment now through August 28th. What would you encourage people to do?
Well, I'd certainly encourage people to write in comments, write in what you feel. If you're for a dump, write that in. But, if you're against this dump and you think it's not a good idea for the Berkshires, not a good idea for Lee and Lenox, certainly write in comments and tell them we don't want your dump. We want more PCBs taken out of the river. We want a better cleanup. And you just aren't giving us that, EPA. And you need to do a better job. People should be asking for that. And we can do it in public comments.